Low-key photography looks mysterious and complicated, but it's surprisingly simple. Today, we're not taking a photo, we're making one. Welcome back to Lens Lore. I'm Millie, and today we will be using my vintage Pentacon Nifty 50 for a very interesting project, low-key photography. As photographers, we almost all start the same way. We take photos. We point the camera at something interesting and hope the picture turns out well. But over time, something changes. We stop relying on what the camera gives us, and we start shaping the photograph ourselves. We stop taking photos, and we start making them. Making a photograph means we control the light, the shadows, the mood, everything the viewer feels when they look at the image. And one of the simplest, most powerful ways to understand this is low-key photography. So today, I will show you how to make a low-key photograph from scratch, with nothing but a vintage 50mm lens and one object. We will start with a single light, then add a second light, and you will see exactly how each change affects the mood. Let's start with the simplest setup, one light. And the good news is, your light can be anything: a desk lamp, a flashlight, even your overhead light. Low-key photography isn't about expensive gear. It's about control. You can get very different photographs just by moving the light at a different angle relative to your subject. First, let me show you the baseline shot. For this setup, I dimmed my overhead light as low as it goes and set my ISO to 800. Anywhere between 200 and 800 will work. Just keep it low enough to avoid noise, because noise really shows in dark photos. Don't use auto ISO. I accidentally turned the ISO wheel to auto, and the noise really destroys the picture. Next is aperture. I stopped my Pentacon down to f4, which keeps the subject sharp, but still lets a good amount of light in. Now shutter speed. Watch what happens when I increase it. The image gets darker, because the sensor gets less time with the light. I'm just using shutter speed to fine-tune the exposure, but the lighting setup defines the mood. So now let's switch off the overhead light and move on to a desk lamp. This is where the look really starts to change. I move the lamp into a few positions so you can see how each angle changes the mood, rendering the subject in a completely different light. I'm using an RGB bulb here, so I also played around with color a little. See how a simple color shift can change the atmosphere. And here's one more option, a diffused desk lamp. I softened it with a diffuser, or you can just use a thin cloth or a white t-shirt. Now let's add a second light. The idea is simple. One is your key light, the one that's shaping your subject, and the second is a softer fill light that controls how deep the shadows get. I will show you 3 different combinations, but you can mix and match these however you like. You will notice that even small changes will give you a very different mood. Here you can also play around with different colors of light. See how the photos change once we add different colors of fill light. And here's something that's really important: distance. The closer your light is to your subject, the brighter it gets, and the faster the light falls off into darkness. That's what creates that beautiful, dramatic, low-key look. A bright subject and a naturally dark background. Also, remember to separate your subject from the background. Anything around half a meter or about 2 feet is usually enough to keep the background clean and dark. As you've seen, low-key photography looks mysterious, but it becomes quite simple once you understand how to shape light. Mastering light is one of the easiest and most powerful ways to shape the entire mood of a photograph. By changing the color, the placement, and the distance of your light, you can create dramatic images with nothing more than basic gear. So experiment, try different combinations, and see how each change transforms your photograph. If you love working with vintage lenses, subscribe for more simple DIY ideas and creative experiments. And remember, don't just take photos, make them.